Maryland 295, yeah! Alright, today we are talking about Maryland 295, the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, or some of it's not Maryland 295, it's a little confusing, but it is a absolutely beautiful road. In fact, we just did a beautiful road last week with 287, we're doing another beautiful one now. Maryland 295 goes from the DC border, on the other side of that it is DC 295, and heads north into Baltimore and ends in downtown Baltimore. It's a lovely back way to get between Baltimore and DC if 95's got you down. We're going to start by talking about Northbound 295. We're here on DC 295, which is just north of I-295, and we'll save those for DC content. We're doing Baltimore content today. And we get our exit for US 50, East Annapolis, New York Avenue coming up. We're getting Baltimore-Washington Parkway and 2 I-95 and Baltimore. No trucks. Here is the exit for West 50 for New York Avenue. That'll take you right into the heart of downtown DC. And we are getting still the same thing. North to 95, no trucks, Baltimore. You're watching Control City Freak. This is the YouTube channel where we talk about highways and the places they're assigned to go to. If you dig this kind of content, why not give us a like? If you really like it, why not subscribe? Yeah, subscribe. After we pass that interchange with US 50, we are getting this Baltimore Parkway to Baltimore sign, and you notice the sign is brown. And right near where we are entering in from DC into Maryland, we have the Pepsi Cola building. And this was requested by Mr. Shiny quite some time ago, so I kept that request. And I appreciate that, and thank you for that request. Mr. Shiny requested that on the Patreon, as any Patreon member can with a $5 or more membership. And I appreciate everybody who does do that. We've got lots of cool upcoming episodes that you're probably going to want to be a part of, with some very big US highways coming later in this football season. You can also make requests the old-fashioned way with a $5 super thanks or super sticker, or more than $5 if you're feeling generous, on any video for any future video. You can check the video description of the latest video I've got out to see what requests are open. And you can also check the posts tab. And thank you to everybody who does both those things, and you for watching right now. Why not subscribe? Our first exit is going to be with Maryland 202, Bladensburg, and Cheverly. We are sticking with these brown signs, so quite interesting. We're not getting the green ones on this road. See, the median is made of stone there too, kind of different than what you usually see. Here is that exit, also a brown sign, and you see it's a very severe exit right before it ends in that stop sign. It comes just right out of here. Random interchanges were signed Baltimore-Washington Parkway for Baltimore and BWI. No mention of 295 because the National Park Service runs this portion of the road, so officially it might not be Maryland 295, just like the US highways and Yellowstone National Park aren't officially US highways there. Next we're meeting Maryland 450 for Bladensburg and Annapolis. And we get this lovely sign in the median here, Baltimore-Washington Parkway, dedicated to Gladys Noon Spellman. And here's what it looks like when we have a large median. It's only 2 lanes, but we're just going through forest. We got a brown mile marker sign, very scenic. And remember, we're still inside the Beltway here. Next, we're meeting 410 for Hyattsville and New Carrollton, so more Maryland, DC suburbs. And several of the overpasses are like this, kind of stonework-looking overpasses. So again, very nice looking, very well put together road. We're meeting I-95 and 495, and suddenly we go to green signs here. South for Richmond, exit 1/2 mile. We get a green overhead sign. I guess maybe it has to be green if we're dealing with interstates. North 95 and 495, Baltimore, exit 1/4 mile. Or perhaps the National Park Service doesn't maintain this one interchange. Here's our ramp for 95 and 495, and we've changed fonts for some reason from the last sign. We're going to be meeting Maryland 193 for Greenbelt and NASA Goddard, exit 1/2 mile. Get this exit for Goddard Space Flight Center, employees only, so they're trusting you to not get off at that exit, although I assume they'll have some kind of guards there. And this was requested also by Mr. Shiny, because he was an intern at Goddard when he was a student at nearby University of Maryland. Thank you for that request. Our next exit is for Powder Mill Road and Beltsville. I always thought that was kind of a funny name, Beltsville, for the Beltway area. And the National Wildlife Visitors Center is this exit as well, so that's cool. Now we're getting an exit for the Montpelier Mansion and Arts Center, so that's neat that we've got that little exit for that. Or that actually looks like that's going to be on our next exit, which we'll look at in the next slide. We're on North Baltimore-Washington Parkway for Baltimore. We are getting 197 for Laurel and Bowie. Interesting sign here where we're just getting these right angles, East 198 for Fort Meade and West 198 for Laurel straight ahead. And here is our exit for West 198 for Laurel. This was requested by Joseph A. because he used to live in the Laurel area. So thank you for that request. It's kind of exactly halfway between DC and Baltimore. Next we're meeting Maryland 32 for Columbia and Fort Meade. So lots of Maryland state highways that we hit along the road here. This exit is also for the National Cryptologic Museum. Surprised they tell you where it is. You gotta figure it out by yourself. Next we're meeting Maryland 175 for Odenton, or with the Baltimore pronunciation, Odenton. East 175 was a brown sign, and now all of a sudden West 175 is a green sign. So that would indicate we are leaving the National Parks maintained part of the road, heading back to the Maryland state maintained part. Yep, we're back to green signs all the way around, and Maryland Live Casino is going to be our next right. Our next right will be Arundel Mills Boulevard, and we are getting a reassurance Maryland 295 sign now. After Arundel Mills, we are meeting State Highway 100, east for Glen Burnie, west for Ellicott City. We are 295 North Baltimore. This exit was requested by New York Rambler because the Maryland Live Casino is also at this exit, and he says it is strictly better than the MGM Grand, which is for high rollers, and he's broke. So thank you for that request. He also said he didn't do too badly last time he was there, so awesome. And here is the ramp for 100 West Ellicott City, and man, that's a weird interchange. We've got that right angle right there again. UMBC, I believe the Terriers, the 16 seed that upset Virginia, is U's 195 West. And we're meeting 195 west for Catonsville soon, east for BWI first. We're getting to West Nursery Road, and this was requested by Mr. Shiny because that's where the offsite warehouse where his wife used to have to travel to happens to be. Thank you for that request. We're going to be meeting 695 and 895, although we don't have full interchanges with either of them. 695, we only have a chance to go northbound, and again, we have this weird right arrow direction for North 695 Towson. Did an episode on 695, you can check that out right over there. And we are meeting North 895, the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel Thruway, and we're assigned 295 North Baltimore. We don't have an exit for southbound 895 because we are south of the toll. Inside the Baltimore Beltway, now we're meeting US 1 North Monroe Street shortly, Waterview Avenue right here. We are going to be on Russell Street for downtown straight ahead. Before we get downtown, we meet I-95, so we are getting I-95 for New York. Kind of hilarious that it's New York there and not Philly. And I've talked about I-95 quite a bit before. You can check that out right over here. Finally, we get to US 1 North Monroe Street. We've heard about it for quite a while now as we go under I-95. And on the other side of I-95, we are on Russell Street, which is a surface street. This is now unsigned 295 through this part. We're seeing 395, 295 straight ahead. We pass right by the aforementioned Horseshoe. I've not been to the Maryland Live Casino, but I have been to this Horseshoe one before. Ended up getting lucky and winning on a stupid slot machine right at the end after losing money on blackjack. And we pass right by the Ravens Stadium, so here it is. And we're getting 295 and Oriole Park there in the distance. I'm sure you wanted to see what that sign said on the road that is leaving us, so I'll show it to you. That is for MLK Boulevard, and it's 2 I-83 and 1 and US 40. I did an episode on US 40 you can check out right over there. Right here is what it looks like right as we pass around Camden Yards, or Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Lovely, lovely stadium. And as we get onto Paca Street, here is a better view of Oriole Park. We're right across the street from Camden Yards here. I've actually had beers at that bar before or after a O's game at some point. And we continue through downtown Baltimore on Paca Street. A University of Maryland facility right here as we continue through downtown Baltimore. Always cool. We pass right by the Lexington Market, which is a large public market in downtown Baltimore. Pretty cool. And here is a sign for East 40 coming up, and that will be Mulberry Street. And here is Mulberry Street, where you can turn right to go east on US 40. One block further up, we get to Franklin Street, which is the end of Maryland 295. Let's turn around and go southbound. Here we are on Franklin Street, and again, it is unsigned. We are turning on to Green Street for southbound 295. We hit the 0 line for Baltimore City. We were in North Baltimore. Now we're in South Baltimore after crossing Baltimore Street, at least so far as addresses go. We pass right by the National Museum of Dentistry. Yeah. And we get a good look at Camden Yards as we head down Green Street and head more toward the stadium area. We pass right by the Ravens Stadium as well. And we get our first acknowledgement of the fact that we're on 295. Notice Russell Street South, 295 roadwork. We're heading onto the freeway portion of this road. We get an exit for US 1 and South 95 Washington will be the second right. No chance to go north on 95 from this angle. From 95's perspective, we get 295 South Baltimore-Washington Parkway, or rather, Balt-Wash Parkway. We cross right over 895 with no exit for it in any direction. From 895 South, you can get onto 295 South because you would have already paid your toll by now. We're meeting 695, and it is a full interchange in this direction. We can go east or north. From the 695 perspective, here is the exit for 295, and you can go also south or north on that for Washington or Baltimore. We're meeting 195 once again, west for Catonsville, east for the airport, although 195 really goes more of a north-south direction than east and west. From the 195 perspective, here are the exits for 295, North Baltimore, South Washington. Here is State Highway 100. I will show that once more because it's a fairly major road, and New York Rambler inadvertently requested it twice for the casino thing, so thank you for both of those. Appreciate that. At random interchanges, it is what you would expect, Washington South and Baltimore North. We're meeting 175 once again, and we're going to be leaving Maryland State Maintenance after that, and we're getting this weird sign with a small sign on the right and the left. It looks like they were going to build an overhead and then just forgot to. And from 175, there is no sign for 295. Instead, it just says Balt-Wash Parkway South, since we are going unnumbered here officially. And here is our entrance to the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. We get that sign once again, and our first full exit will be Maryland 32. Jumping ahead, we have the exit for the NSA, and if you're heading over there, they probably already know that you're coming. Here is 197 once again for Bowie and Laurel. And here is again just very nice scenery that we see on this road. This is a beautiful road, lovely to drive. Go back to green signs because we are meeting the Beltway. So North 95, 495 sign for Silver Spring in this direction. It wasn't in the other direction because probably you're not going to Baltimore if you're coming this way anyway. South 95 and 495 for Richmond because Washington is straight ahead. From the Washington Beltway, we are getting the same thing. Balt-Wash Parkway, South Washington, North Baltimore. And inside the Beltway, it remains very scenic. Not what you think of for inside the Beltway at all. We're getting somewhat to the end here, so we're getting 50 West Washington, and that really kind of is the end of the real Baltimore-Washington Parkway. And if we continue straight on the road that we're on, we're getting 2 Interstate 295 South and 50 East, and Richmond and Annapolis as our control cities. And just a little further up, we get this very well hidden sign for US 50 Annapolis, and we are back to green at this point. And south of this interchange, it's really not the Baltimore-Washington Parkway or 295 anymore. Coming from the eastbound US 50 perspective, we are getting Baltimore-Washington Parkway, Baltimore to the left, and East 50 straight ahead, and 295 south if you get off at the interchange for Annapolis-Richmond, or rather, Richmond for 295 south. Here is our ramp off of US 50, and they're calling this now 201 instead of 295. It is 295 Interstate, not state. And Alexandria suddenly is the control city when Richmond was listed as the control just one sign before. Back on the road that we were on, we are getting the final throes of it. We're officially on 201 and not 295 anymore. But Interstate 295 to I-95, junction 4 miles until we meet 295. Eastern Avenue, this exit. And welcome to Washington, D.C. So we will be on D.C. Highway 295 beyond this, not Maryland 295. So this no longer covers the scope of what we are doing in this episode. Let's take a look at Todd's The Way It Should Be for Maryland 295. This is about as easy as it possibly gets. Northbound, Baltimore, southbound, Washington. Nothing more to say there. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Control City Freak. I really appreciate it. And we're coming back next week with another 295, this time in Interstate 1 again, our third 295 numbered road that we've had this Chiefs season. This time we're going to Jacksonville as the Chiefs will be playing the Jaguars. Requests for that are already closed, but for your future requests, check the description of this episode to see what is available. And until next time, my name is Todd, and keep on trucking.